Hey everyone, I hope you're all well. Apologies for the 2-minute delay. I was just on a call, just finishing up some other business at the moment. But thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that today will be as insightful and valuable for you as it is for me to help you. So just a bit of an introduction into who we are and what we do. Most of you are already clients of Property Funnels, so you will already have spoken to me probably many times in the past, and some of you on the group or people joining this group and in future watching this video. I am David Steinberg. I have a background in media, so I've never practiced as a property practitioner. I've never actually sold a property. I have bought, but I've never sold. But I come from a marketing and a journalism background. And what I feel like that has given me is the ability to see the other side of where your client sits, your ideal client, your seller, or your buyer, and understanding the kind of language that we need to use in order to get their attention, keep their attention, gain their trust, and hopefully convert that into business for you. Now, from a practical perspective, we do that through a few tools, and I'm going to show you one of those tools today, and that is Facebook's Ad Manager. You may already have run ads in the past on Facebook. You may have used a boosted post. You may have tried lead forms. You may have tried Messenger and chatbots and all these other shiny objects. But today I'm going to show you how to use the Ad Manager back end of Facebook. That's where the actual power of Facebook comes in. And that also gives you the best chance of reaching your ideal audience and communicating your value proposition to those people more effectively. Now, if you are on this live chat, please, I'm keeping an eye on the live chat as I go through. You can obviously put some comments into the comment bar. Ask anything as we go, and at the end of this I will help answer any things that might have gone over your head or not been clear in this broadcast. So Property Funnels now is a year old. I've obviously been doing this longer than Property Funnels has been around, but why we started was I'm a copywriter and I enjoy creating copy on behalf of clients, including myself, in order to help people sell their service or sell their products. Now, I didn't have a platform to practice my copywriting abilities until I found, a small niche in terms of creating a CRM property practitioners and then having landing pages where I could help create the content for those landing pages as you see in front of you. And then obviously my knowledge in terms of the advertising landscape helps in bringing clients to these landing pages that we create. And then, as you already know, we have automations on the back end of Property Funnels that help to nurture and convert those people into appointments, bookings, and hopefully into mandates for you. So a year in, and we are 570 and more agents using Property Funnels. Now, not all of these people are active users, but a vast majority of them are actually actively using it for different reasons. And we continue to evolve. So we've got some new features. We've got an app. You may or may not know this, but we do have an app. It's available on the iStore. It's available on Android, and it's called Lead Connector. So you can actually use that when you're in the field or on the go, and it's a convenient way to keep in touch with your leads, find out what people are saying, answer them, add leads to your database on Property Funnels. Add people to campaigns in your Property Funnels account, or check your appointments. We've also got a Launchpad feature on the left-hand menu, which makes it very easy for you to see, do I still need to connect my Facebook page, my Google My Business page, and also to invite your team into your account by just putting their email address in, and they'll get a convenient email where they can sign up with their own password and fill in, the rest of the details in order to get an account inside Property Funnels. We've also got some success with regards to what you see in front of you. This is a desktop valuation campaign, and these have proven exceptionally well received, and they do very well in terms of converting. I think part of the reason for that is people during COVID don't want to go for the appointment first. They kind of want something in their hands as a start. So today I'm going to show you how we bring people to a landing page like this using Facebook's Ad Manager. And then I thought maybe just, one of the questions when I spoke to someone recently about this, they asked me, David, why are you showing people how to do what people pay you to do? And I think the reason is it's not because of anything more than the fact that, I'm here to help. I'm here to help you grow your business. There's nothing more that I like to see than people actually using the system and really taking hold of it and being accountable to clients and themselves in really, the money that you're spending month on month to have the subscription. You should know how to set up an ad. You should at least have the best chance in converting people into leads using Facebook marketing. So I want to give you the right information. I want to give you the right tools, and I want to see you actually fly. And then, another point is I do see even existing Property Funnels clients using lead forms, using messenger ads, using chat widgets. Now, the long and the short of it is a lead form is only going to attract really low quality leads, first thing. Second thing, it's a low intent lead. It doesn't take much for that person to fill in your form. Rather drive them to the landing pages that you have created for you or that you are creating for yourself. You have a better chance of finding the right client if you send them to something off of Facebook where they get to read about you, they get to read about themselves in the copy, and they get to do a few valuable actions. For example, here, like filling in this desktop valuation report. Now, let's dive in. I don't see any questions at all yet. So if you are online, give me a like or let me know if there's anything you want to know. So I'll keep an eye on the live on my phone as we go along. Your pixel. So many people don't know what a pixel is, and today I'm going to show you why your pixel is there and how to get a pixel. There are resources online that you can find on how to get the pixel and how to set it up. And I'm just going to show you how we put the pixel inside the landing page and why it's there. So I think without any further ado, I'm going to hop right into my Ads Manager account. How's it, Trevor? Thanks so much. So this is Ads Manager. As you can see in the address bar, it's called business.facebook.com/ads manager. You can sign up for a business account on Facebook, and I suggest you do this. You're going to connect your Facebook page, and you're going to connect an ads account and put your credit card information in there so that all your ads come off your card. I'm not going to show you these other ads here because there's clients' ads on the back behind this screen. But once you've got this part set up, you're obviously going to click on that green button there. It'll just say create an ad. And the anatomy of the ad looks something like this. So this is the campaign name. So this is where your campaign would live. So for example, this is a lead conversion demo that I'm going to show you today. This could be for, you could call it a valuation campaign. Then on the ad set level is where we set our targeting. So this is where we set our geography that we're trying to target, our farming area. We also set our age of our perfect customer, as well as their interests, their behaviors online, in order for us to try to target the right people at the right stages of their lives. And I'm going to show you some of the little things that we use in order to improve the targeting ability of our campaigns. And then you've got the ad set level. So this is where your creative side lives. So this is where the actual image for your ad, or the video for your ad resides, where you set that up, as well as where that description and the headline and where you want to direct people to. So you want to direct them to your landing page. So this is where you set up your URL for the landing page. So if we start here on the campaign level, there's a few things that you get to see as a starting point. You will see I've already pre-selected conversions. You'll get a bunch of things here that you think are relevant to what you want to achieve. But remember this, by telling Facebook what's important to you, the most valuable actions, it's going to find people who match these various conversions. So if your actual valuable action is to get more conversions, and what I mean by conversions, people to fill in a form and give you their contact information, you're going to go and target for conversions. Traffic is going to send the most amounts of traffic to your page, but Facebook knows people's their behaviors online. So if you're going to choose traffic, you might get a lot of clicks through to your ad, but you're not going to get conversions. So I hope this makes sense, that you want people from a landing page perspective, you're going to select the conversion event as your most valuable action, especially because you want people to fill in their data on your landing pages. So we're going to go for conversions. And if we scroll down, you've got something called campaign budget optimization. Don't stress about A/B testing, but we're going to look at campaign budget optimization. So what does that mean? Now, the way we spend our money on our ads dictates the success of our ads. If you have campaign budget optimization toggled on, you can set a daily or a lifetime budget for your campaign. So this would be across the entire campaign. So if your daily budget is 500 Rand, it's not going to spend more than 500 Rand on all the ad sets and ads that are inside your campaign. So it's also going to split it proportionately based on performance. So Facebook is going to try to favor the campaigns that are, or the ad sets that are performing the best versus the ones that are not converting at all. We've also had a little bit of a shakeup in the digital marketing sphere in terms of iOS 14's update, which basically by default is opt out for Apple users. Now, Apple users account for a large portion of our market, especially on mobile. So what this means is Facebook's own algorithm has struggled slightly in terms of this campaign budget optimization rule. So we still do use it, but in varying degrees. We still like to control the cap on our ad spend. And we also like to see, okay, if it's going below the recommended amount of leads that we're wanting, we can pause campaigns automatically. But today I'm going to show you by switching campaign budget optimization on. This will at least give you a good start to help you find an easy middle ground, because the next time you run this campaign, you can then obviously choose the right ad sets that are working for you and then bin the ones that don't work. So I like to give Facebook not a daily budget, but a lifetime budget. So I'm going to pick a lifetime budget of 500 Rand. And on the next campaign, on the ad set level, I'm going to set the date that I want this campaign to run from to when. You've also got a few campaign bid strategies here. You can go for lowest cost. You can go for a cost cap, and then other options in terms of the bid cap over here. So right now, we're going to look for the lowest cost. So we want to spend the least amount of money to get the most amount of conversions. So let's just pick this as our setup for the way we're going to spend our money. We'll go to the next stage. And as I mentioned, this is where we're going to set our geographic targeting. So let's say we want to target people in, I'm going to use a larger area. So I'm just going to say Randburg. So I just do this for my own use. I've actually got my garden service here. So if it gets noisy, I apologize for that in advance. So I'm going to just choose Randburg. Our conversion event location. So where we're sending people, we're sending them to a website. And then we're going to look at our schedule. So today is the 18th. And it's going to start from 12:15, which is just past. So I'm going to make this actually 1 p.m. Oops, 1 p.m. Just put it 1 p.m. like that. And we're going to set an end date of not a month, because you will never spend 500 Rand over a month. We're going to actually bring this back down, and we're going to say today being the 18th. So let's run it up until Sunday. Do we have any questions? Just checking to see if anybody has any questions. No questions. Okay, great. So I'm going to set this from Sunday to 8 p.m. And now it means this campaign where I set my 500 Rand budget is going to spend that full budget between today from 1 p.m. until August 22nd, which is on Sunday, until 8 p.m. Now we can use our audience. So we've got a few options here in terms of location. So do we want to target people living or recently in this location? Or do we want to target people recently? So this is to target people who are maybe out of town, may have visited, for example, if we're doing Cape Town, they might have been here on holiday recently or traveling in this location. So they're not here permanently, but they're, they're within our area. So in our case, when we're trying to find people who actually live or are recently in our location, we're going to choose this one because it opens up our targeting. And over here, we're going to remove South Africa because we don't want to target the full South Africa. Remember, we want to do Randburg. So you can click here to include Randburg. So I just type that in and I find it as a city region. When you do a city region, you will see there's a radius around this. So 25 miles is massive. So this is still outside of your catchment area that you're trying to target. So all you do is you click on the little down arrow and you pick current city only. So let's pick current city only. So this is going to just target people who are recently or living in Randburg. So as you can see on the right-hand side, our potential reach is about 98,000 people. And our little needle is in the middle, which means we've actually got a really nice defined audience in terms of our size. So that's a good start. Then we can choose our age demographic. Now, obviously, you can add more areas here, but let's just pick Randburg for now. So you can add locations as you go. So you can add from a suburb level or a city region level, a municipal level, as well as a country level and a provincial level too. So let's choose our age demographic and let's say we're going to look for people between the ages of, let's say, 30, and we'll keep it up to 65. So once we brought that 10 years down, remember we were on 98,000 people here. Now we're sitting in 190,000 people. Sorry, Dale's asking a question, is the area Randburg in this instance related to where Facebook users are domiciled? Yes, they are. So remember, in this instance, we're seeing people who are living in or recently in this location. Now, Facebook can track people, so it knows where people generally are living or when they were recently in a location. So yes, 9 times out of 10, you'll have the right person. Sometimes people may be living here, but might have a property out of town. And this is why they sometimes give you an address like a Mams and Toti when you're targeting Randburg. So that does happen from time to time. Thanks for the question, Dale. All right, so we're on our age. We can choose our gender. And in this case, I think we all agree it really doesn't mean, no man or no woman is going to be excluded here. So we can keep all genders. And if your offer is only for women or only for men, then of course you can choose your gender. In terms of the detailed targeting, this is where we can set interests, we can set behaviors. So this is interest targeting suggestions. And if we browse here, you'll see we've got a few other options in terms of the demographic, the interest, the behavior. And if you click on the down arrow here, you can target people by different life events, relationship status, their various interests, and then of course their behaviors online. So also people who have an anniversary coming up. So for property, there's a few behaviors that we do look at, but we do focus on interest quite heavily. So these are the 3 interests that we generally use as a stock standard in all our ads. So we look for interests of property, we look for interests of real estate, and we look for interests of family. This encompasses the vast majority of the people in your target area. Now, the reason we don't use too much targeting is because we've got our pixel installed and we're actually relying heavily on Facebook, helping us to find people who are going to be more likely to complete our forms. If you put too much targeting in here, you are almost limiting yourself in terms of who you're reaching and how effectively you're reaching your audience. There is one more little trick here, but I'm not going to show, so that is a bit of an IP issue. But these 3, if you use them, your chances of success are greatly enhanced. Obviously, you can go a little bit finer and you can say, well, do these people drive BMWs? So you can target people based on that interest too. Do they shop at Woolworths? You can target people based on their shopping. And what kind of television shows do they watch? And again, you can target based on specific television shows as well as television channels. And then obviously like sporting interests and those kinds of things, you can target by that too. But from a valuation perspective, these three targeting criteria work exceptionally well and will get you really 80 to 90% there in terms of getting conversions on your landing pages. Now, you can also choose to exclude or include people beyond your detailed targeting. And I suggest you keep this on because remember, no one knows the demographics and the behaviors of people better than the platform itself and the algorithm that powers the platform. So if you exclude detailed targeting, if you only include detailed targeting, your abilities to reach people beyond these interests is greatly reduced. So we keep the detailed targeting expansion on. You can target by language. You get a few options here. So you can search for people. So let's just see search language. So obviously you've got English and you can choose UK, US or all. And I think you can even say Afrikaans. So you can choose here. I don't think there are too many African languages. So let's just have a look here. There's nothing there. So we just write Zulu. There's nothing there. So Facebook doesn't really cater to the African language demographic, but we don't generally target via language. If your ad copy is in Afrikaans, then by all means, target people who are Afrikaans or list themselves as that being their preferred language. Then you've got a few options to either manually have manual placements or automatic or manual. Now, if you choose manual, you now need to physically go in there and say, well, I only want to reach people on mobile. I don't want to reach people in stories. I don't want to reach people here or there. So keep it as an automatic placement because, again, you don't know how people are going to react to your ad and where they're going to find you. Sorry, Dale is asking, should you exclude real estate agents' agencies? That's a great question, Dale. And actually, we actually have a few people who click on ads, agents included, who actually do have properties that they want to sell, and they've converted on those events. So if you're looking for purely homeowners and you want to find people who are interested in selling their homes and they're not estate agents, then yes, you should actually exclude the, sorry, I've just got my garden service coming past here. I'll just wait for him to go by. Apologies for this, guys. Okay, so exclude real estate brokers or people that have that listed as their job title or their employer. So you can target by, for example, brand names, because a lot of homeowners will have dealt with the big brand names. So you can target using Remax, you can target using Keller Williams, you can target using Century 21, Fine and Country, I think is another one. But a lot of your South African brands are not covered in Facebook targeting, so you won't be able to find Pam Golding, you won't be able to find Seif, and some of the other agencies in our country. So I want to draw your attention to optimization and delivery. So even though we are after conversions, if I click here, you will see when you select conversions in the campaign level, your default is going to choose conversions. The problem with choosing conversions up front is when you don't have enough data. Facebook is looking to try and give you the most amount of conversions in a specific window of time. So what I mean by that is, let's say Facebook says to you, and this is actually from Facebook itself, they want you to have at least 25 conversions, and that's 25 people filling in your form successfully within a 7-day period. Now, if you're just spending 500 Rand, it stands to reason that you more than likely won't get to your goal within the 7 days, especially if you're only running it for 3 or 4 days. So instead of optimizing for conversions as our delivery mechanism, the next best option is the landing page view. So we're still trying to get conversions, but we're going to ask Facebook to rather focus on people who have shown a demonstrable history on going to a landing page and viewing that landing page. And a view on a landing page is, I think, at least 3 seconds. So they need to come to your landing page from a mobile device, sit up for 3 seconds, and either leave or fill in your form. It will still measure your conversion. Your conversion event will still happen inside Property Funnels, and everything will still go according to plan. But what you're telling Facebook to do is not just focus on conversions, but let's try to find the best people who are actually going to come and look at our landing page, because our value proposition on our ad and our landing page should be strong enough to convert that person if it's a worthwhile offer for that person at that point in their lives. All right, so we're going to choose landing page views here, and then we're going to go to next. And this is where we set up the ad. So we'll give it an ad name. So in this case, I'm going to say valuation suburb is not a suburb, but a region, Randburg, just for my purposes. You're going to select your Facebook page. Remember, you've connected your Facebook page inside your business manager. So you're giving your business manager permission to run an ad on behalf of your Facebook page. If you've got an Instagram account connected, you can connect your account there. Then we're going to focus just on single image or video for this example. We're not going to go and do carousels. We're going to just choose single image or video. This would all be blank, but I've pre-done this for you to show you what it looks like when it's completed. So in the media, you can obviously come and select an image there by clicking here. You can upload it from your desktop or wherever your image is housed. It's going to show you some examples of what your images should look like, and you've got sort of requirements in terms of like the sizing and the actual dimensions of your image. Okay. So you're going to pick your image. So this is an image. I'm going to give you guys a link to find these on my Canva board. And then you can customize, optimize creative for each person if you've got varying ads. So if you've got more than one image, you can choose this as an option. So I've only got one image for this ad in this example. So I'm just going to choose that as standard. Primary text, that is the first thing people will start to read about. So that involves all the text that's here is placed there in your primary text. It's important to put the link to your landing page there too, because what tends to happen, people will read this and not know what to do next. So you always give them a call to action to do something. And it's easy if you just put the link there, but Facebook will also say, you need to put your URL link there because this is where you're directing people to. So I'm going to show you in a second where we find the URL for the landing page. Your headline, which is, if I scroll down here, it's this piece next to the Learn More button, which is your call to action. So that's where your headline is built. And you can choose to put a description, which generally comes underneath your headline in certain browsers or in certain parts of where the ad is shared. You can also, once you put your URL in there, you could just preview it to see, is it the correct URL? Is it not a 404 and not redirected to something else? Make sure that it's correct, because if it's sending people to the wrong landing page, obviously you're not going to get your desired conversions, and Facebook might also disapprove your ad because you're sending people to something that's different from what you're telling people they're going to get. Your call to action, you've got a few options here. You can see play game, shop now, see menu, request time. Obviously, none of this is relevant to us. What we want people to do is either to get a quote, I suppose, contact us, book now, apply now, or the very good option is always learn more. It's enough of a push to say to someone to do something, but not to the point of saying you have to buy something from us or you have to set aside time to have a call or call us. So it's important to choose one of these options as your call to action. Your ad copy, you can also give some sort of specifics in terms of what you want people to do. So in this example, we're saying click here to get in touch with us today. And then you put your link there. All right. A few things, the anatomy of your ad. So if you see what this ad looks like, so I'm actually going to open up this ad in it's not published, so I can't show you. So I hope you can see this. It's not too small. So when a person is scrolling on Facebook, they see a few things as the posts go by. They will see an image, then they'll see the headline, and then they'll see the first line. So their eyes will be drawn to something that is different and colorful, or something that is relevant. Then they'll read more about what it is, and then they will, if they're interested from there, move into this part of your ad, your actual copy. So why we run ads on behalf of clients, and we always say to them, what suburbs are you targeting? Who are you actually targeting here? It's important to make sure that your ad creative carries some relevance to your audience. Remember, our brains are programmed to see things that are relevant to us. And if your only place of putting the relevant city or the relevant client type is in your copy at the top here, then you might end up missing that person as they scroll through Facebook. So it's important to make it really stand out, make it bold, make it like unmissable. And then obviously, what do we want you to do, or what is it that you want people in this city? So in this scenario, we're saying suburb city, which would, in this case, we would say Randburg. Do you want to know what your home is worth? So I will be scrolling and I'll see Randburg. And if I live in Randburg, I'll stop potentially and I'll look and see what this is about, because I'm programmed to see things that are relevant to me. Do you want to know what your home is worth? Yes or no? So if I do, I will think a little further and I'll read, okay, home prices in Randburg have risen as yours, as an example of a headline text. And then if that entices me enough, I will start to read the ad. And if the ad then entices me, I will click the link. So that is the way the Facebook ad anatomy on a very basic level is done. You have to show relevance. You have to ask a question that may or may not apply to that person. You have to tease them slightly to say, okay, well, there's something I don't know, or there's a curiosity factor here. And then your copy needs to be specific to what you're selling or what you're offering. And it needs to flow and tell them what to do at the end. So there's no real rule in terms of how long your copy should be, even though we find that the longer form copy tends to provide us with better quality leads. Shorter form copy means people don't have to do much work to understand your ad. And it also means that sometimes lower quality leads can come through the cracks. But again, it's worth testing to see what works best for you. Now, once we've completed our call to action, we're going to tell Facebook we want to track the events. It's important to have your Facebook pixel. So this is where you will put your Facebook pixel once you've set that up. I'm actually not going to show you where to go in that for this case, because I've got other people's pixels and I've got sensitive data on the back end here that I don't want to, I can't really block out on a live video. So I will send on the bottom of this post, I'll send you a link to how to find your Facebook pixel or set up your Facebook pixel. So this is your Facebook pixel code, and I'm going to show you in a second on the landing page. This code sits inside the head section of the landing page where I'm sending people to from my ad. So that I'm telling Facebook, I want you to track this pixel when there's an event, when somebody clicks on the ad and does the action, which is fill in the form. You're going to send data back to Facebook to say, this person on Facebook went through the process, filled in their details. That is the relevant pixel that you're tracking. So therefore, Facebook's going to try and find more people like that person who just converted. Does that make sense, guys? If you've got any questions or if you need me to stop and go back on something, please do say so. I am monitoring the chat. Okay, I think we're fine. I don't see any people asking anything. The rest of the URL parameters is not necessarily the most important thing. From a tracking perspective, we use these to tell us which of our ad sets are performing better than others. But in this case, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty around that, because it's not going to necessarily make your campaigns less or more effective. So once you're happy with your setup here, if you are going to run ads in Randburg and Bryanston and Fourways as your sort of 3 areas, or on a more suburb level, let's say Legari, Craigle Park, and Bordeaux in Johannesburg, we're going to set up our ad set once, and I mean our ad campaign once with our ad sets and our demographics here. And all we're going to do now is we're going to duplicate. So I want to duplicate Randburg, and I'm going to say duplicate. I'm going to make 1 copy at a time. I just do this just so that there's always an easy way to find what I'm trying to find. Once you've done that, do yourself a favor and click on the one you want to edit now. So it's going to say Randburg copy. That's our master. This is our copy. So click on this, change the name so that you are always aware of where you're working. So Bryanston. And then all you do here is you're going to change a few things. So no longer are we looking for Randburg. We're going to remove Randburg from our targeting area, and we're going to search Bryanston. So we're going to go for Bryanston as a suburb. And we're not going to choose radius targeting at all. And you can also obviously exclude locations. So if I look at if I look at Bryanston, we've got about 19,000 potential people, smaller area. If we scroll down, we're going to keep the same interests. We're going to keep the same age demographic, the same gender, and everything else is exactly the same. So our landing page views, we still want to optimize for that. Then what we're going to do, we're going to click here, and we're going to now just change a few elements. So instead of saying in Randburg, we're just going to say in Bryanston. It makes it easier for us to find. Everything exactly the same. And then you're just going to come here and you're going to remove your image, and you're going to select your other image, which is now Bryanston. So again, relevance to your market. If you come here, you can take out anything that was Randburg. So actually what we should say, are you thinking about selling your, this would be Bryanston. Are you thinking about selling a Bryanston home? So we're more specific in our ad copy too. And then here in suburb, so there we would put Bryanston, obviously take out the square brackets. The landing page destination is exactly the same, so nothing needs to change there. So all you're going to do is you're going to duplicate on an ad set level, duplicate and duplicate once you set up your first campaign and before you publish. All right, I don't see any questions yet. I don't see any questions. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Now, when people click on the URL, which is this one here, they're going to come to this page. And obviously, this is where the goal is. This is what we want them to do. So we want them to fill in their address. Should we send the valuation, email address? So many of you have got something similar to this in your accounts. So you will already know what this is. When do you want to sell your house? And then obviously, what number should we SMS or WhatsApp? And then we've got some compliance here in terms of copy. So I'm not going to fill in the full thing, but what I'll direct you to is the back end. So remember, we want to track people from Facebook who come to this link and convert on this form. So on the back end here, inside the landing pages. So on your left-hand menu, if you go to funnels and you click on funnels, I'll just go one back here. And then we're going to pick our desktop valuation funnel flow or whatever you're trying to drive people to. You're going to click on settings. And inside settings is where you can put your Facebook pixel code. So Facebook's going to give you a long code. You want to put the full code in because it's telling the events that you want to measure. It's telling Facebook, these are my valuable events. And remember, I've got a Facebook pixel ID. So the last 4 numbers here are 6370. And if I go back to Facebook, I look at my Facebook pixel ID, 6370. So it's matching that pixel ID which is inside my funnel, inside my head tracking code. So once you paste this in here, you're going to click save. And now when you send people to that page, Facebook's going to be able to look for more people. Or once one person converts, Facebook's going to be able to feed the same ad to people who are similar to the person who just converted. Now, remember, if we can get 25 conversions within 7 days, we are going to optimize this campaign, and Facebook's going to really start running with this and delivering more and more and more leads to us. So it is important to try and get as many conversions as possible. But again, we're going to go for the landing page views because it still gives us a good chance of finding the right customer. So Dale's asking, are the results better with the smaller suburb rather than the municipality, Bryanston or Santon? So Dale, I guess the question is multifaceted. There are no right and wrong answers. Why I say a specific suburb is because people also themselves, you've got to look at the psychology of the person who sees your ad. They may live in Santon, but they may feel more at home in, for example, Morningside. So yes, I live in Santon as a municipal region, but my home is in Morningside. So always go for whatever's the closest relevance to your market. So your market is always going to be more in tune with what's happening in their local area, as opposed to in the sort of broader area and the country and or the province and the country. So if we just said Gauteng, we're not being specific enough. If we say Santon, we're getting closer. But if we say Morningside, we've got a better chance of actually getting the attention of the person we're feeding the ad to. If we go too small, obviously, we reduce our chances of actually getting any conversions at all because we're not targeting enough people. So you need to find a healthy balance. And remember, on the ad level or the ad set level, where I showed you the geography where you can target, you're going to look at that number on the right-hand side that said your potential reach is X amount of people. So if I look here in Randburg, my potential reach is 190,000 people. That is a lot of people, and I have a really good chance of getting some conversions there. Whereas if I go to Bryanston, it is a smaller area, but my potential reach is about 19,000 people. My targeting is still pretty good. I might be going a little bit broad, but that's okay. I'd rather be a little bit broad as opposed to too specific. If you're too specific, you may get nothing. If you're too broad, you might get the wrong market. But if you're sort of on the green spectrum, you're within a very good point of finding the right person at the right time for the right product and offer that you're trying to give them. So I hope that answers your question. Now, I wanted to show you a few more things which are actually here. So we've been running a campaign giving this away as part of our own lead generation efforts. But at the same time, I'm going to give you the link to a place where you can find this Canva board. So inside this Canva board, you can just add this to your own free account. As you can see, city, suburb. You want to know what your home is worth. You can change the color. You can change the specific area. You can put a different photo in here. You can change this guy over here to your photo. And obviously, you can put your own logo in this spot here. So let me just, it's gone a little bit over. So I'm going to just bring it up. And you can pop your logo in there. You've got a few more different examples. So this is a bolder font. This is sort of a more thin font. This is slightly different. I think this is a Libre, yeah? And over here, you've got more of a cursor font with the focus on the agent. So if you want to put your own photo in there, you can do that too. So it's really up to you how you'd like to use it. The intention here is to be relevant in terms of the city suburb, asking them a question, giving something that is eye-catching, and then sort of another call to action on your image. So you can do all that using this. Martin's asking a question, something I thought of. Rustenburg itself is an average sized town, but you have safari gardens, that's a residential area. But let me just see. But the owners work in, for instance, the CBD. Will you suggest targeting the whole town rather than just safari gardens? We'll only run ads in the evening in safari gardens. So Martin, I think the answer to the question is really, you should test this. You can run a campaign in the evenings, and you can run a campaign throughout the day, or choose to go wide or choose to go specific. I think the point here is, remember, when you look at your targeting, you're looking at people who live there, or say they live there, or Facebook can see that they live there, or they were recently in that location. Now, people don't travel in general. People don't travel very far out of that catchment area. So they would normally be between 1 or 2 suburbs at any given time. The problem is, if you're too specific and your market is small, you're going to get 0 results. So it's important to, if you're getting too specific, if Facebook's saying you probably won't get any conversions based on your audience being too small, then try to widen your audience. And you can widen your audience in many ways. One way is to look at the geography of who you're targeting where. Another way is to look at interests. And the other way also is to look at age. So you will know your market better than I will. So I guess my answer to your question is, please do run some tests and see what works for you. Optimize the ones that work, and then bin the ones that don't work. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so you've got a Canva board, access to this, and then I've also got some ad copy for you here. So this is some of the ad copy that we've used in the past to great effect. And a lot of this has got to do with really qualifying your seller, telling them about, when so many steps involved in selling your home, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So looking at the pain points of what the average seller might be going through. And what you could do is, you could take, let's take this Bryanston ad, and you could run it all Bryanston, and all you do is you duplicate the ad now. So I don't want to change my location. I just want to change my ad copy. So I'm going to duplicate the ad. So we duplicate the ad. All right. I want to just see where I'm at. Oh, I duplicated the wrong thing. Let me just go here now and duplicate the ad. Okay, Facebook has just changed this. So I'll go through this at a later stage. But yes, you can duplicate the ad, and then you can just change the copy there. So I might want to choose ad 1. I might want to do ad 2. And you've got about 11 different ads in here that you can test and see what works best for your market. Martin's saying, because with targeting, you only have an audience of 32,000. Martin, are you saying in Safari Gardens, or are you saying in Rustenburg? If you can just give me some information there. So if you say an audience of 32,000, remember, that's not a terrible size audience. That's a pretty decent size for a specific area. But again, the greater your audience, the greater your chances of reaching more people more consistently. So again, you've also got to make sure that you change up your ad as often as possible if you're not getting conversions after a while. So run it, leave it for about a day. And then after that day, you've gotten no conversions, go and look and see, are there things you can do to change it to make sure that you get a better targeting ability, or should we open up the audience? Another thing to remember, on the Facebook, on Ads Manager itself, it's going to tell you how many impressions or your reach on that ad. If it's sitting below 1,000, leave it until it reaches at least 1,000. So your ad needs to be seen almost by 1,000 people before, or be seen by at least 1,000 times, not 1,000 people, because sometimes the same person can see your ad more than once. So it needs a reach of about 1,000 before it really starts to hit its straps. So it's always good to spend more of your budget up front to really hit that 1,000 mark quicker, as opposed to going slow and steady, which means it's going to take longer, especially when you're dealing with a small audience. So try to put more of your budget up front, and as you go, you can adjust your budget to suit your own budget. So, you can say to Facebook, look, over this weekend, I want to spend 7,000 Rand, but actually you only want to spend 500 Rand. But because you're telling Facebook, spend 7,000 Rand in 4 days, Facebook, once it's approved, is going to go out there, guns blazing, and start to reach as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, because it wants to spend more of the budget. And then once you've reached your 1,000, you've got a few conversions, you can literally change your budget and you can bring it right back down to 500, provided, of course, you haven't spent 500 Rand already, because then you won't be able to do more. But you can always stop the ad then at any given time. So that's a little trick, which I didn't have prepared, but sort of was prompted by Martin's question. Okay, guys, if there are no more questions, I just wanted to show you inside the actual campaign what it looks like on the back end. So this is the desktop valuation campaign. This is the workflow. So when someone fills in the desktop valuation, there's a notification that goes to the agent. We put them into the pipeline that's relevant to them. The first email goes out acknowledging that person's inquiry. Then we wait 5 days and we send them a follow-up. Remember, between here and here, in that 5-day period, you should have sent them a desktop valuation report. This is standard to send a quick follow-up to see if they've got any questions or if there's anything they want to know. And then we're going to wait 4 days. And if they want to know anything, if they reply, the agent will get the notification, or you will get that notification. If they don't reply, so if there's no engagement from the person, then they go down the third follow-up. We wait 10 days and we see, did they reply? And so if they didn't reply, no, which means they did reply in this instance, because we're looking at the yes column to keep the people down there, but we want to remove them if they do ask a question, and what is the question? So this is what the internal notification would look like. This is what the lead replied. So this is badly done on my side. It's better on your side, just as an example to show you. So the reply in the desktop valuation automation, this is what the lead replied, and the reply could have been, I'm not interested, or yes, please give me a call. All right. I'm just looking at our time, guys. So we're coming up to about 1 o'clock. I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to ask if anybody has any more questions, and then I'm going to dedicate like the rest of these 6 minutes to helping answer any of your questions. So please feel free to pop them in the live chat at the bottom, and I'll see if I can answer as many as possible. So I'll give you guys some time to type out your questions. Bit of an ominous silence. Even my garden service is left, so that's nice. So Martin, when you say, can I get this funnel, please? Which one are you talking about specifically? Is it the desktop valuation funnel? And Nick, thank you very much. I appreciate the good words. Okay, so this is not really a live chat environment, so it's not like a Zoom environment. So what I'll do is, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat below, and I will, after this broadcast, I'll just go back to them and I'll answer you in text form so people can actually benefit from that maybe later down the line. But yes, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys sticking around and coming through and learning a little bit of this. It's been a pleasure. And again, if you've got any questions, if you need anything at all, please do not hesitate to contact me. I am available to you guys as much as I can be, and we'll be doing more of these in the future. If you've got any specific requirements and you think there's a benefit for the entire group to learn, then please do let me know what that is, and then we can schedule some time for some more specific training, because again, at the end of the day, helping you is in my interest. So I really and truly do and sincerely believe that if you are If you are helped and assisted as best as possible, the sky's the limit for you. And I think that that's exactly what I want for you. So thank you again for your time, and have a great rest of your day. And I'll speak to you all pretty soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.